Welcome back to the main events of Italian diplomatic activity abroad. A harsh condemnation of the developments of the conflict in the Gaza Strip was expressed by Foreign Minister Tajani, who spoke on May 28 in the Chamber of Deputies during an urgent briefing on the topic. These innocent deaths wound our values and outrage our consciences, declared Tajani. The legitimate reaction of Tel Aviv to a terrible and senseless terrorist act is unfortunately taking on absolutely dramatic and unacceptable forms, which we ask Israel to stop immediately. It is necessary to stop hostilities and aim for an inclusive negotiation, which cannot foresee the expulsion of Palestinians from Gaza, he emphasized. But let's hear the head of the Farnesina.
L'unica prospettiva possibile per la pace, l'obiettivo
The only possible prospect for peace, the indispensable objective, remains the start of a political process that leads to two states coexisting in peace and security. These are the government's priorities on which we are working with 360-degree action with all our partners. As a friend of Israel, I say at the same time that it is essential to immediately put an end to the escalation and the health emergency in the strips. The government has never lowered its guard regarding Israeli conduct that we have considered worthy of censure. Those who say that the government is ignoring the Gaza crisis offend the truth.
La crisi di Gaza offende la verità.
And at the beginning of the week, 15 trucks financed by the Italian project Food for Gaza and entrusted to the World Food Programme arrived in the Strip. The trucks were modified to serve as small forklifts inside the Strip and to distribute flour and other food aid at the various distribution points managed or recognized by the WFP. This news arrival of aid adds to the previous humanitarian intervention carried out by the Italian government, which has already mobilized 35 million euros and more than 100 tons of food and medical supplies in favor of the population of Gaza. Also dedicated to the situation in Gaza was the meeting of the Enlarged Madrid Group held on May 25th in Spain, in which on behalf of Italy, Deputy Foreign Minister Maria Tripodi participated. The adhering countries called for the implementation of the two-state solution, Israel and Palestine, an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, the access of humanitarian aid to Gaza. The objective is to reach a political agreement in the Middle East in view of the high-level conference to be held next month in New York, promoted by France and Saudi Arabia, in which Italy will also participate. On May 28th, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's first mission to Central Asia began. The first stop was Samarkand, the historic capital of Tamerlane's Mongol kingdom, who located in Uzbekistan, where the President of Council met with Prime Minister Mirziyoyev with the aim of strengthening commercial partnership with Tashkent and signing agreement in sectors such as energy and raw materials. On Thursday, May 29th, Meloni flew to Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, where on May 30th she took part to the Astana International Forum. Building bridge by exploring paths that others have not had the courage to explore is the DNA of Italians, said the Prime Minister, speaking at one of the main sessions of the forum. Aid agreements between Italy and Kazakhstan were signed for a total value of over 4 billion euros. On May 26, Deputy Foreign Minister Edmondo Cirielli participated in Brussels in the European Union Foreign Affairs Council in development format, chaired by High Representative Kaja Kallas. We want to demonstrate that Europe doesn't just distribute resources, but builds partnerships based on mutual respect for sovereignty, institutional capacity and concrete results, declared Cirielli, according to a vision aligned with the Global Gateway and the Mattei Plan for Africa of Italian government. On May 24th, Deputy Foreign Minister Giorgio Silli participated in Quito in the official inauguration ceremony of the President of the Republic of Ecuador, Daniel Noboa. The mission took part in an atmosphere of great cordiality and confirmed the excellent state of relations between Italy and Ecuador, within the framework of the revitalization of relations between Italy and Latin America. On the occasion of the Made in Italy Day, the Italian Embassy in Vienna dedicated an evening to Giorgio Armani. The halls of Palazzo Metternich hosted the presentation of a session of garments from this year's Spring-Summer collection by the Italian designer to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Armani brand. The evening was attended, in addition to the Italian ambassador to Austria, Giovanni Pugliese, by personalities from the world of theater, cinema, music and culture, including actors Philipp Hochmeier, Ferdinand Seebecker and Lilian Klebow. And on the occasion of the Africa Day on May 27th, in Rome, the event entitled Italy-Africa Dialogue, the voice of cultural and creative industries, a case of fashion, was held co-organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The meeting represented an important opportunity for discussion on the strategic role of cultural and creative industries in strengthening relations between Italy and Africa, with a particular focus on the fashion sector as a tool for intercultural dialogue and economic development. And that's all for now. Thanks for your attention and stay tuned!